and something that we have been involved in early on. And that campaign right now is driven by, to a large extent, by voluntary Ibis members who are getting all kinds of ideas and doing a great job. And I don't know much about it as of now. It will all come out in the summer.
Would you say that poverty is connected to this child labor issue? Or
yes, of course it is.
It's all interconnected, or is it very separated? They're separate campaigns, obviously, right?
The campaigns are separated, but the causes are of course interlinked, because poverty is a great part of child labor. Wealthy people very rarely make their children work and keep them out of school to that extent. So of course there's a link there. But the core message in the Stop Child Labour campaign is that poverty is not excuse enough for child labour.
Okay, can you elaborate what does that mean? Or
many of the organizations globally who work with child labour or against child labour has the attitude that we want to abandon the worst form of child labour, but all other forms of child labour are somehow okay, because if parents are poor, then the child should also take its share of contributing to the family, to feeding the family.
And how does Ibis
we
feel
want
about
to challenge that, because our results, or the results created in the campaign, shows that, as I told you before, that poverty is not actually the core, the root cause of child labour, but education is the root cause.
Okay.
And
or lack of sufficient educational.
That educational opportunities are either not accessible, or not available, or not acceptable, or not adaptable. I mean, that there is no welcoming school to these pupils, and that's why most parents can say that we are too poor, we will take them out. But what they don't also say is that with the alternatives that are currently available, we think that child labour is the best solution. So we think that education is. That's also why the campaign is called "School is the best place to work."
Yes.
That they have a right to education, and actually this is the core, not necessarily poverty alone. But we know that the place where most children within the areas that Ibis work, which is Latin America and Africa, then Africa has got the highest number of children out of school. And Latin America has got less children out of school, but more examples of children working at the same time as going to school, and therefore not getting the benefit of it. So if you want to sort of size the problem, then Africa would be, of the countries who work in Africa, it's a place where it is worst, so to speak.
Yeah. So would Ibis prioritize one area from another, or is it very evenly distributed, or?
We haven't actually gone as far as to do that yet, but that depends on the dialogue we will have with the regional offices. It's new to them as it is to us, so we haven't started that.
When you are receiving funds for educational programs and so forth, is it evenly distributed, or is it distributed according to crisis level, or how is it allocated?
We have a system where we work with what we call thematic programs, where the countries themselves, or the Ibis offices in the countries, plan together with the partner organizations that we work with. We always work through partner organizations. We don't implement ourselves. They make thematic programs, which means they analyze an area, for example education, and discuss and find out what are the kind of things we need to do here to make a difference. And then on basis of that, they will then apply for funds for the country and be approved by the board. But a very important criteria in taking this kind of decision is where is the country office's assessment that we can make the biggest difference, and where do we have strong partners to work with that can actually do the job. There are different opportunities. I mean, if we had much more resources than we actually have, we could access people through TV spots or something like that, but that is very expensive for us, so we have to not do that. But I think that could actually be very efficient in telling people about this problem, and also asking them to be active. What they have done in the other countries early on have been to make petitions and give them to the politicians that have to take decisions, so that you sort of show that that people agree that child labour should be abandoned, not only worst forms but all forms of child labour, in that way to create something, a public pressure on the decision makers. But how to be active just like that is really a difficult question for me to answer just now, because we haven't sort of developed the wonderful idea that could sort of make the difference. Because I mean, in that case, you should either, apart from the contribution of money, you should imagine, one could think of a system where you could actually activate people locally in informing about these things, make local activity groups and so on. But the difficulty in a strategy like that is that, Denmark, there's all sorts of these groups already. So whether there's a space for it or not is a different kind of issue. So we will have to think hard on that part.
Yeah. My last question.
How to mobilize.
Yes, mobilize.
Yeah.
And how is it? How many years have you worked for Ibis?
Me?
Yeah.
Since 2002.
Okay. How is it to work at Ibis? Is it like? How is it generally?
It's a wonderful place to work.
Yeah.
Because it makes a lot of sense what we're doing, and the campaign, the Education for All campaign in the schools, is a very rewarding thing to work with, because so many teachers are extremely happy with it, and almost 200,000 pupils are part of it. That's 1 in 4 Danish pupils, and that is a very. I think it's very impressive, and it feels very rewarding to make a difference that is big like that. And then it's a nice place because it has got a lot of good colleagues, and it's a tough place to work because we are on a very, very high pressure for resources because of this self-financing law that was carried through last year.
And what did that
means that we are under very hard pressure to raise some private funds. And if we don't make it, we're not traditionally a fundraising organization. We
just strictly from donations, right? Or
yes, actually, we were not big on donation because the Danish, originally we were not, because the Danish system was that if you were an NGO that was good in the south, so to speak, then you could access public money to do development work for. And by then there was an understanding in Denmark that it was good to have as broad an NGO environment as possible. So some organizations were fundraising, some were good at making public attention for things. There was a much broader picture on what the Danish NGO did. But with the current government, there's been a very, very tough streamlining, so that all organizations have to do 10% fundraising, all organizations have to have this number of members, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that means that to Ibis that has been a big challenge, and that this year specifically puts us under a lot of resource pressure. They made it as part of the Bill of Finance that to obtain public support for development programs in 2006 you have to raise 5% of the money that you receive, and in 2007, which is this year, you have to raise 10%. So
does it keep getting higher?
No, it doesn't keep getting higher, but it was doubled from 0 to 5 to 10, and with the size of Ibis' project, that is a very, very huge challenge, because it's not easy to fundraise.
Okay, so you have to match the amount of money that you're receiving. That's a lot of work. Did you get extra staff for that?
On the contrary, because we don't have the money, so it's not. That is tough, because it creates a lot of stress, and it means that a lot of my wonderful colleagues are under higher pressure than I like.
Yeah, but there's support within it. You have about how many members here? Or
we have about 10,000 members, but we don't necessarily see them. I mean,
and in the Danish office here.
Oh, you mean how many employees there? Between 25 and 30, I think.
Okay.
So
would you consider this the headquarters, or
this is the headquarters
of all of Ibis?
Yeah, it actually. To do it well, we ought to be larger than we actually are.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
But you're doing a great job, and thank you for this. And yay! I'll let you get back to work.